It's top of the hour, so let's call this meeting to order. This is a special meeting of the Gainesville City Commission. It's September 10th, 2020, and this is the first of two final budget meetings that we have, the readings of the ordinances and resolutions to adopt the various rates, tax, millage rates, utility rates, and final adopted budgets for general government and GRU. We also, at the end of the meeting, have the second reading of the open container ordinance, in case anybody is tuning in early for that. So stick around, that will be a little bit later. So with that, we need a motion to adopt our agenda.
So moved. Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Johnson, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Madam Clerk, if we could move to a vote.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Sacco?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola? Absent. Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Johnson?
Aye. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Gotcha.
I can.
Okay.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe?
All right, that motion passes unanimously with Ariola absent. Okay, Madam Clerk, first item this evening.
Okay, our first item is the first reading of Ordinance 200129, Appendix A, Schedule of Fees, Rates, and Charges for Utilities Amendment, Water and Sewage. An ordinance of the City of Gainesville, Florida, amending the Code of Ordinances relating to utilities by amending Appendix A, Schedule of Fees, Rates, and Charges to revise fees, rates, and charges for water and sewage, providing directions to the codifier, providing a severability clause, providing a repealing clause, and providing an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bolarski, we've gone over this, but for the benefit of the public, would you like to give a high-level overview of this year's fees, rates, and charges?
Yep, there I am. I beat you with a hair, by the way.
I don't know. We'll find out.
So as you know, we didn't have any increases in the base rates across our systems, but we did have some water, wastewater charges on special fees that went up based on cost of livings that were embedded within those systems, if you will. So to carry that on, I'll put on Claudia Rasnick, who can answer any questions you all have about that, or give a little background to that.
Great, thank you. Welcome, Ms. Rasnick. How are you tonight?
I am great. I'm glad to be here.
You wanted to add to that?
Actually, no, Ed said it perfectly. This Appendix A is just for some smaller charges in these systems. If you had a chance to actually open up the ordinance, you'll just see some adjustments to like customer connection charges and those sorts of things. They equate to 1.84% increase in those small connection charges. The revenue change for the utility is somewhere around like $120,000 overall. So this is a relatively small adjustment for the utility. You will see later on in the program our ordinance for the base rates. There are no base rate increases being requested for the utility in the electric, water, wastewater, and gas systems. We had a presentation back in July for both the Utility Advisory Board and the City Commission, and nothing has changed since then. So what you're seeing now is what we discussed 2 months ago.
Right, thank you, Ms. Rasnick. And just to make clear to folks maybe watching, when we talk about connection charges, we're not referring to when you get service hooked up. Say if you move to a new apartment, you get your service hooked up. That has not changed. This is for new connections to our system. So somebody builds a new commercial business or a single family home or something like that. They need to get hooked up to our system, and it's the charge to do that, which is basically paying for the infrastructure costs to be part of the system. Okay, well, thank you both. Let's get a motion on the floor, and then we'll open it up for public comment.
Motion to adopt ordinance 200129.
Second.
Okay, motion to adopt ordinance 200129 on first reading by title only, seconded by Commissioner Simmons. Motion was from Commissioner Johnson. Larry, are you with us again, or do we have somebody else?
You've got Kyle.
Oh, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Mr.
All
Mayor.
right, turn it over to you for public comment.
We're receiving a large number of calls at this moment that we're going to take a moment to screen to see if they're about this topic. And we'll be back to you momentarily.
Very good. Thanks, Kyle. And just for anybody watching or listening out there, I know that many people are going to call in concerning the city's general government budget and particularly the police department. That item comes up a little bit later on our agenda, so just stick around.
And we're still taking a couple more callers, but we do have at least one caller who will be calling to speak on this topic.
Great. Thanks, Phil.
All right, we have two callers calling to provide public comment about this issue. The first caller will be Nathan Scott. Nathan will be followed by Debbie Martinez. Nathan, please go ahead. Nathan, are you there? Nathan, please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners, Nathan Scott. So as the Commission moves forward with consideration of the GRU and general budget items tonight, looking at water and wastewater issues, it appears that there are minor increases to interconnections and other various charges. For many years now, I've been asking the Commission to adopt a real conservation rate structure, one that doesn't, for tier 2, go up to some ubiquitous number of K gallons, which would actually do two things: actually promote water conservation consistent with the way the Florida Public Service Commission does it, but also provide a little additional incremental revenue to the utility, which could be much needed in these times of financial distress with not only GRU, but the city. So again, I would ask the Commission to take a sharp pencil to these items, to take a sharp pencil to adopting the rollback rate on the property taxes. And I also want to express a concern that the phone lines appear to be jammed up with an orchestrated attempt to, say, defund the police department during the general budget discussions. I hope that's not the case, and I hope I'm wrong. But if you know, a lot of people are calling in for that purpose out of town, and it's one of these orchestrated things, I would actually call for defunding the city commission. It'd be a much more cost-effective alternative for the taxpayers and citizens of Gainesville. Thank you.
And next we have Debbie Martinez. Debbie, please proceed.
Okay, can you hear me okay?
We can go ahead.
I guess, okay, thank you so much. As you know, Mr. Poe, GRU General Manager Ed Bilarski has prepared a transparent, principled, and visionary budget document attached to this evening's agenda. And also, as you know, Mr. Poe, Mr. Bilarski was selected by the City Commission during your second term on the commission to mitigate the financial impacts of a series of ill-advised business decisions you championed during your 2 terms as a city commissioner. And also, as you know, Mr. Poe, some say Mr. Bilarski was able to restore public faith in the utility despite a decade of bad decisions, most of which occurred during your first 2 terms on the commission. I don't see anything on the agenda honoring Ed Bilarski's asserted achievements. This is particularly disturbing given the fact that he is now being courted to head up the largest utility in the state of Florida, JEH. Do you want to lose him and help all the work he's done to fix your mess unravel? And again, as you know, Mr. Poe, the public can forgive mistakes, but it is difficult to forgive someone who made the mistakes and doesn't have the decency and gratitude to honor the person who papered over those mistakes and allowed him to get reelected. Will you please put an item on the agenda that will honor Mr. Bilarski for all he's done to fix the problems you created? Don't you agree that there is no wrong way to do the right thing? Thank you.
Thank you. And we've had one more caller dial in while others were providing comment. We're going to quickly turn to them to make sure that they're calling to discuss the fees, rates, and charges for utilities, or if they're going to be discussing another topic. Please provide us one moment to screen that call. And that caller was calling to discuss a future topic on the agenda. So that is the totality of public comment on this issue. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks both for calling in. And thank you, Mr. Bilarski and all of your staff. We probably not be putting a separate agenda item, but we thank you nonetheless for all of your hard work this year and all the years. Madam Clerk, please move to a roll call vote.
Okay. Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Sacco?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Okay, our next item is Resolution 200147, Fire Assessment Annual Rate Resolution. A resolution of the City of Gainesville, Florida, relating to the provision of fire services, facilities, and programs in the City of Gainesville, Florida, imposing fire services special assessments against assessed properties located within the city for the fiscal year that begins October 1, 2020, and providing for exemptions, approving the assessment role, providing for the estimated fire services assessed cost, approving the rate of assessment, providing for severability, and providing an immediate effective date.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Feldman, high level.
Thank you. So as we discussed back in July, there is no change to the fire assessment rate for fiscal year 21. This resolution is necessary for approving the assessment.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move resolution 200147 and other recommendations.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Ward, moved by Commissioner Hayes Santos. All right, Kyle, back to you for public comment on the fire assessment resolution.
We have one additional caller who just dialed in, and we're going to check to see if they're calling to discuss this topic or a future topic. One moment, please.
And I was remiss at thanking Ed for providing us the water for the fire department.
It takes a village.
one more caller. We have no callers on this topic.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, then, could we move to a roll call vote?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Ariola,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Commissioner Sacco,
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons,
Aye.
Commissioner Ward,
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos,
Aye.
and Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Next item, please.
Our next item is Resolution 200284, Gainesville Regional Utilities Tentative Budget Fiscal Year 2021. With the recommendation that the commission adopt the proposed resolution.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Feldman, Mr. Feldman, would you like to make any comments on this? You don't have to.
On 284, I believe is Mr. Belarski.
All right, Mr. Belarski, I'm sorry, I was skipping ahead in my agenda here. Anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, no, Lee and I, we confuse ourselves. I mistake him for me all the time.
I'm just trying to spare you all from the violin practicing that's going on in my background here. So
Oh, God bless you. God bless you. Yeah, no, I don't have anything to add unless Claudia wants to prep it.
So this is the resolution approving GRU's fiscal year 21 budget. And again, there have been no changes since our discussions in July. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. If not, here we go. And I just wanted to say thank you for a great budget year this year. It was with the pandemic over the past several months, it was quite interesting, but I think we really got to a good spot. And we had a lot of internal discussions and some discussions with the commission back in July as far as GRU's budget. And I do feel like we're in a good spot for this particular year. And so again, if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, this was really a hold the line budget, and we, you know, thank GRU staff for coming back to us with something that I think was very sensitive and empathetic towards what people are going through. And also, if you look at the numbers, our customers are doing much better, and GRU is in a much better spot than many other places, because I think of our, you know, our proactive approach towards helping people spread out their payments, you know, acting early to terminate cutoffs and other things like that would just have added extra stress and anxiety to people during a very difficult time. And so, you know, everybody is in a difficult situation right now, but, you know, I think both the utility and all of our customers are in a much more stable situation than otherwise could have been. And also, it's worth pointing out that, you know, the city manager mentioned today that we went out for the pricing for our bonds today for our pension bonds, and those came back very favorably, and that will not just benefit the general government budget, but GRU as well. And so that's a little ray of hope, a little bit of sunshine poking through the clouds for you know what we see coming moving forward. So thank you all, but really appreciate the work on that. Okay, let's then turn it back to Kyle for public comment on the GRU tentative budget for FY21.
Thank you. We're screening one additional caller, but we do know that we have one caller who's called to speak to this topic. One moment, and I'll let you know if we have one or two. We will have two callers calling to provide comment on this topic. First is Nathan Scott in the Second caller is Matt. So Nathan, we're going to go ahead and start with you.
Yes,
Nathan?
good evening, Mayor. Yes, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Nathan Scott. I want to, as a point of procedure, I want to make it known that the commission took a vote on the fire assessment fee without taking public comment. I was on hold. I was denied unlawfully the ability to speak because the phone lines are being jammed up by a bunch of people that got a notice to call in protesting defunding the police department. So y'all need to slow this down and provide an opportunity for the public to meaningfully participate. And I think you need to go back and redo that vote that you just took, or move to reconsider the vote until you take public comment on the fire assessment fee, which I believe should be lowered. Now, I think it's wrong the way this meeting's being handled, and the fact that you guys are a warp drive, notwithstanding the fact that the public, despite me telling the moderator when I called that I wanted to speak on every issue, I was denied the opportunity to speak. That's wrong, commissioners. And the reason for that is that the operator and moderator is being held up by the onslaught of calls who, if you could hear in the background, saying they got a memo to call in about this defunding the police item. So it's clearly orchestrated, and it's taking away from having a meaningful discussion about GRU issues in the city budget. With respect to the adoption of the GRU budget, I think the city commission should show some fiscal discipline, provide some rate relief to hardworking Gainesville families, which you have failed to do by failing to reduce the general fund transfer. You're putting our debt rating at risk by continuing to drain the utility of its resources that it can't afford to fund, because you guys won't cut your spending. You won't cut a single penny of your wasteful discretionary spending on the general government side. You continue to impose these hardship on GRU and its customers, who have some of the highest, if not the highest, electric rates in the state of Florida. And they're going to go higher because you guys keep putting city mandates on GRU also, as we heard this afternoon. So this city commission needs to slow it down a bit, noting that the phones are being clogged up, and you guys have just been put on actual notice that I was unable to participate in the item that you voted on without taking public comment, which I do believe is unlawful, because I was clearly on the phone and clearly expressed my desire to speak on the issue and never got the opportunity, along with probably other callers, because the phone lines are being jammed up by this group of people that are activists that just want to defund the police. If anything, we should defund the city commission so we could be more fiscally responsible in the city of Gainesville. Thank you.
And the next caller that we have is Matt. Matt, you can go ahead and provide your comment.
Just going based off what the last person said, definitely needed to defund the city commission. There's so many people complaining and in trouble with these GRU bills. The rates keep going up. I came here from Columbia County, and I pay more than double for using the same electric usage coming here. On my current business bill, I get $85 a month in fuel adjustment charges. I pay $100 a month for stormwater charges that you guys are supposed to provide all these services, mosquito help and all that, but you don't do anything about the mosquitoes. There's no trucks driving through. This city is really, really disappointing, and it seems like it's all just a money grab to fluff and take care of UF. And it's at our expense to sit there and take care of this and take care of all these budgets, and GRU's overspending. I can drive around town and see more employees than it takes to do one job, sitting there watching the one guy actually do the job. And this city's just way too frivolous on the spending, and I'm getting sick of having to foot the bill for it.
Thank you. And there are no more callers calling to speak to this topic, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. And just a reminder that no GRU rates are going up this year. They're all staying flat. And I do want to thank all of the GRU employees that are out there in the field working every day to keep our system reliability up and keep our system one of the most well-functioning in the state. That goes for electric, water, wastewater, gas, and telecom. It is a very difficult feat, and I know especially during this time of COVID-19, they've been more stressed than usual, having to work in in unusual shifts and observe significantly more difficult safety protocols, yet they're still maintaining that incredibly high reliability rate. So thank you to the some 1,000 GRU employees across the for all the hard work that you do. And we're glad that we can get you a little bump this year. You deserve it. You've earned it. So with that, Madam Clerk, if we could please move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Sacco?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
No, I don't think there was ever a motion, was there, Mr. Mayor?
I thought there was, Madam Clerk.
That's correct. You're absolutely right. We do need a motion on the floor.
I'm so sorry. I thought we had one ready for this. Okay, would you like to make a motion for the resolution?
I move the resolution, Mr. Mayor. Now you're muted.
Commissioner Johnson seconds. Commissioner Ariola is the maker of the motion. All right, back around the horn, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Sacco?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Aye. Takes a village.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
No.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons?
Aye.
And Mayor Poe?
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. I'm sorry, motion passed 6-1 with Hayes Santos in dissent. Commissioner Hayes Santos, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to explain my no vote. As I've said throughout this process, I have concerns with our revenue projections with COVID. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, our next item.
Our next item is Resolution 200258, tentative millage rate for fiscal year 2020 to 2021. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Gainesville, Florida, relating to the levy of general municipal purpose ad valorem taxes for the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year, beginning October 1, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021, establishing a tentative millage rate, setting a public hearing, providing for the publication of notice, and providing an immediate effective date.
Hey, thank you very much. Mr. Feldman.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the commission. As you know, this is one of two items tonight dealing with the general government budget for its adoption. Here we'll be talking about the establishment of the tentative millage rate, which is tied to the property taxes that the city will receive. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Fiore, who has a brief presentation that she will walk through, and then we would ask the commission to adopt the tentative rate by motion.
All right, thank you. Ms. Fiore, welcome.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
We can.
Thank you. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
Bless you.
So we have a very short presentation, just a few slides. As the city manager has mentioned, we have two items, the millage rate and the general financial and operating plan for fiscal year 21. We'll start off with the millage. This next slide, we are required to actually state what you see here on this slide. So I'm actually going to read this slide out loud. The City of Gainesville's current year rollback rate is 5.0237. The current year proposed tentative millage rate is 5.2974. The percent increase over the rollback rate is 5.45%. To calculate the rollback rate, you can see here the calculation. You take the prior year ad valorem proceeds and divide it by the adjusted taxable value, and that gets you your rollback rate of 5.0237. This slide on the very bottom shows that for fiscal year 21, our proposed millage rate at 96% will generate $38,619,660. Again, the millage rate is 5.2974. This is not an increase over last year. It is the same. I can continue, but I don't know if you want to go ahead with the roll call prior to talking about the general government budget.
Why don't you go through the whole presentation now, and then we'll just ask you to come back if there's any questions later on, Ms. Fiore.
Absolutely. So for fiscal year 21, revenues for the general fund consists of $137,821,522. Expenditures equal $137,800,633, and this leaves us at a small surplus of $20,889. There's additional information in your backup under Exhibit A that highlights all the changes to the budget. All increments and decrements are outlined in that exhibit, and that's your complete budget and brief for fiscal year 21 is in your backup. And that's all I have. If there's any questions.
All right, thank you. If you wouldn't mind taking your screen down, that would help me. Appreciate the presentation. Back to the commission, Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move resolution 200258.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Ward.
You're on mute, Mr. Mayor.
I'm using the old spacebar trick and not very effectively. We are going to go back to Kyle and take public comment on this item.
Just had two more callers dial in. We're going to really quickly see if they're calling about this topic or the next agenda item. We'll be back to you momentarily. We have one caller. Nathan Scott will be providing public comment on this issue. Nathan, please proceed.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Commissioner Nathan Scott. So as we heard, the City Commission is not, I want to repeat, not adopting the rollback rate for the millage, which is disappointing for several regards. First and foremost, the statement was made, it's not a tax increase, where in fact, revenue is increased substantially because you, unlike the County Commission, won't adopt the rollback rate, which would provide much needed relief to hardworking Gainesville families in the midst of a pandemic. But you guys can't seem to cut a single penny of your wasteful spending and have no compassion for the hardworking people struggling to pay bills, not only GRU bills, but their property taxes, as will be clearly evident. So I'm uncertain why the Alachua County Commission can be more fiscally responsible than the Gainesville City Commission because they adopted the rollback rate. But you guys don't seem to care about GRU customers. You don't seem to care about hardworking Gainesville families. You just care about spend, enacting city mandate after city mandate, and you can't even fund what you've begun to fund. So it's not a wonder why you guys won't cut our property taxes and provide economic relief to hardworking Gainesville families. So for the presenter to claim, oh, well, we're not increasing taxes, well, that's nonsense. I mean, because the revenue is certainly increased based upon the millage rate, which is why the county adopted the rollback rate, because they're able to keep revenue the same on a year-to-year basis, unlike the Gainesville City Commission that constantly wants to increase its revenue so it can spend on all your little pet projects, all your city mandates, and you guys have an existing budget problem to begin with, and you guys showed no restraint, none, zero restraint. 2 years in a row, you haven't cut a single penny of wasteful discretionary expenditures. 2 years in a row, you've expanded government, and you don't know how you're going to pay for it. You guys don't know you don't seem to comprehend the concept of non-recurring versus recurring expenses and how to fund them. So I would ask this city commission to have some compassion for your neighbors, who you claim to be your neighbors, and adopt the rollback rate and show some level of fiscal responsibility and some manner of good governance, because we don't have it. If we need to defund something, it needs to be the Gainesville City Commission, because it'd be a lot cheaper for the citizens of Gainesville. You're going to hear a lot of callers that continue to clog up the phone lines tonight about defunding the police because they've orchestrated some campaign to call in, and people can't get through and talk on the budget items, which are important. It's funny that they want to discuss the singular issue of defunding the police, but no one wants to talk about the excessive GRU electric rates and the unwillingness of the Gainesville City Commission to show fiscal responsibility and cut the millage rates. So it's clearly orchestrated, and as that previous caller echoed my concern, what needs to be defunded is the Gainesville City Commission and the mayor, because you guys are just
And that's 3 minutes.
in a world of reality. Thank you.
And we have one additional caller who's dialed in during the last comment that we're going to quickly screen. We have one more caller. The caller's name is, I apologize, we're going to screen one additional call before we get going, but we will have an additional caller to speak on this topic. Okay, and it looks like James Michael will be our only caller to speak to this topic. James, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead, James.
Hello. Hello there.
We can hear you. You can go ahead, James.
Hello. Hey there, I'd like. Hello, can you hear me?
We can. You can go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
We can. James, go ahead with your comments.
Hello. Can you hear me?
James, if you're able to hear us, you can provide your comment. You're live and on the air.
Trump 2020.
And we have one additional caller who's called in. We'll be turning to them to screen to see if they're calling about this or a future agenda item.
You have been muted to
And we have one more caller. The caller is Mary Lou Hildreth. Mary Lou, please proceed.
Hi, Mayor and Commission. I just wanted to, it's Mary Lou Hildreth. I wanted to point out, that some callers or people listening in might not know. This is the first reading, and this is the millage that you're suggesting now. If you change your mind by the final reading, want to do the rollback rate, you can always go down, but you can never go up to where you are right now. So I think that's a very critical component of budget and trim. Secondly, I think it would be helpful if, and I don't have my tax document in front of me, but if you look at, you know, that incremental amount is probably going to be, you know, $10, $20, $30 on my tax bill. It's not like it's going to be, I think you have a comparative, because I did this at my council meeting where, you know, somebody's bill went up. Of course, Hampton's not comparable, but, you know, $14 for 1 year when we raised it by a 0.25 quotient. So I just think people need to understand how budget and trim works, and just hearing this, you know, 5 point whatever to 5.39 is nominal and is not going to hit people in the pocketbooks the way certain people have called in have said. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That was our last call on this topic.
Okay, thank you both for calling in. And James, I'm sorry we weren't able to hear you or get to you, but maybe you were on for another topic. Madam Clerk, I believe we do have a motion on the floor for this item, and so let's go ahead and move to a roll call vote.
Okay, Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Aye.
Commissioner Ward.
Aye.
Commissioner Sacco.
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons.
No.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola.
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes 6-1 with Commissioner Simmons in dissent. Okay, Madam Clerk, our next item.
Our next item is 200257, Tentative General Financial and Operating Plan for Fiscal Year 2020 to 2021. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Gainesville, Florida, relating to its general financial and operating plan budget for the 2020 to 2021 fiscal year beginning October 1, 2020 and ending September 30th, 2021, adopting the tentative general financial and operating plan and providing an immediate effective date.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Feldman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is the adoption of the tentative budget. As you know, Ms. Fiore went over the presentation of the high-level view. We're available to answer any questions you have on the budget and brief document, which covers all the general government operations, including our enterprise funds.
All right, thank you. And I'm just going to point something out real quick. I know many people are calling in concerning the police department budget, and some numbers have been thrown around, 3 million, 1 million. And so the actual increments for the police department, other than negotiated wage increases from the union contract that it took a lot of work to get, and we have a 3-year contract now, amounts to just under $300,000. Of that, $100,000 is for teachers to help with after school and tutoring help. Another $150,000 of that or about $160,000 are for mental health specialists. And then the balance of that is for body worn cameras for the entire department. Many of the department already have it, so the entire department can be equipped with body cameras. I know that body cameras are controversial to some, and not everyone agrees with them, but many people do. And I also am just going to point out, because it wasn't brought up last time, we are doubling funding for all of our arts organizations across the board, big and small. And that's the largest increase that we've seen in those for the arts organizations in my memory, and doing it at a time that's so critical to them when many of them are completely shut down and can't operate at all. So I know we're going to hear a lot of different feedback on what we should or shouldn't be doing with our budget, but I wanted to get those numbers out there so we at least had, the actual numbers versus some of the, things I've been heard thrown around out there as far as increments. With that, I will turn to Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And we're also in this budget, we are reducing number of sworn officers who carry guns and replacing those with people who don't carry guns to respond to calls. And we're also funding the Meridian Central Receiving Facility as well to have people go there instead of going to jail and keeping people out of the criminal justice system. I'd like to move resolution number 200257.
Second.
Is there a second? Seconded by Sacco, moved by Hayes Santos. And with that, Madam Clerk, sorry. I just took myself back to commission chambers there for a second. Kyle, would you please conduct our public comment for us?
Absolutely. We are screening one more caller right now, and just for awareness, we have 7 callers currently on the line. If you're waiting to dial in, we will start and go through all 7 of those callers before we take a moment to step back and screen the next round of callers. So if you don't hear one of us taking your call, the second that you call in, that's what's happening. So one moment while we screen the final caller who's called in, and then we'll begin the process. We had a few more call in while we were screening that last caller, and we're finalizing the process of getting those all taken care of. All right, we're going to start with Isabella Lorenzo, and Isabella will be followed by Nathan Scott. Isabella, please go ahead and provide your public comment.
Oh, hello. Hi. So I was calling, of course, for this topic, and I was calling because I do think it is a good idea to defund GPD. I think that GPD has plenty of funds to go to the things that he was mentioning before that they're trying to work on, if those are things they are actually trying to work on, rather than just taking new funds in. I think GPD has enough money. That money can go to so many other things that Gainesville needs, as far as funding education, as funding transportation, so many other things that are so important for people in Gainesville. And I just don't think it needs to go to GPD whatsoever. And that is my public comment. I think also what people were saying before about how it's something that all of us coming to talk about GPD are just being instructed to come here. Like, it's something that was planned, not because we care, but because it's just to clog up the phone lines. It's not we care. We want to express how much we care and love our community, and we just don't think those funds need to go there whatsoever. And yeah, thank you very, very much for having me. That's about all I have to say today. Thank you.
And next, we'll go to Nathan Scott. Nathan will be followed by Alice Lehman. Nathan, please go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners. Nathan Scott. So again, I'm disappointed with the budget as adopted. Far too little time was given to addressing, and I'm sure one or more commissioners will sit there and try and have the last words after my comment and distort history and reinvent it to fit their own political narrative. But the fact of the matter is, there was not a very detailed discussion about taking a sharp pencil to the budget, making hard, detailed cuts, reducing your spending, reducing the general fund transfer. The best you guys can come up with for your merit badge to brag about is that you did defund uniformed police officers that carry their service weapons and are replacing them with community police, whatever you call them. But, you know, bottom line here, in a city that has rampant violent crime, in a city that has shootings every day, armed robberies at Dillard's in the Oaks Mall, shootings all over the place, bullets flying all over town, and you guys actually feel that it's advantageous to reduce armed, uniformed police officers. I think you guys have lost your minds, with all due respect. You know, I want to commend the dedicated law enforcement officers in the Gainesville Police Department. You guys, you know, defunded the Joint Aviation Unit, which has been instrumental in apprehending violent criminals that have created felonies. And why else would this city commission be so adamant about wanting to tie the hands of our law enforcement officers and defund them and reduce the number of officers at GPD that carry arms? Could it be that the majority of the city commission has criminal convictions? Could that be? You know, you guys seem to have a disdain for our police department. You actually should take a survey, unbiased survey, and see what they actually think about you. You know, they probably won't be honest because they fear attribution, but, you know, at the end of the day, you know, they laugh in your faces. You guys have no respect for them like you respect the fire department. You guys give the fire department everything you want, but it's open season on attacking the Gainesville Police Department because you guys want to be woke and virtue signal. That's wrong. The city commission should cut its budget. You guys are not fiscally responsible. The county commission adopted the rollback rate. This city commission has cut nothing, and you brag about funding arts in the midst of the pandemic. You know what? That's a worthwhile cause. But at the end of the day, you know, you can't just single out your special interest groups and throw money at them, your constituents, because your constituents aren't the city as a whole. They aren't your neighbors. They're the special interests, a small subset to keep you guys elected. That's the problem with city government, and it has been for 20 years because one political faction has run city government for 20 years, yet you have all these crises and problems that have went unsolved. Mayor Poe, you know about that all too well. Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Alice Lehman. After Alice will be Rachel Pohl. Alice, please go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alice Lehman, and I'm a Gainesville resident. Calling just to make a quick comment that I do not support an increase in the budget for the Gainesville Police Department. I think that the $1 million proposed increase can be used for so many other important issues that need to be addressed in Gainesville. Let's use it towards any number of things: affordable housing, healthcare, youth programs, other things like that. So thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thanks. And now we'll go to Rachel Pohl. Rachel will be followed by Jamila Roth. Rachel, please go ahead.
Hi, I'm calling in basically to urge against increasing the police department budget. The GDP already receives 20% of the general funding, and I think there's absolutely no need to increase it by another almost 4%. I think that there are so many other underfunded areas that deserve some of this allocation, like sustainable development, parks and recreation, cultural affairs, transportation, affordable housing and healthcare, equity and inclusion. And also, I know it was already mentioned earlier, some of the funding that mental health and education receives, but I think that they deserve even more than that, especially because the police department has repeatedly not done a good job addressing certain situations where maybe mental health would have been better for those things, such as sending social workers or crisis center workers rather than sending police officers to the scenes. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. And now we'll go to Jamila Roth, and after Jamila will be Tori Meadows. Jamila, please proceed.
Hi, I just wanted to call and say that I do not support an increase in the police budget, and I think these funds should be reallocated and invested in the community so things like affordable housing and education and healthcare and social services. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll go to Tori Meadows, and after Tori will be Taylor DeMarcado. Tori?
Hello, I've been living here in Gainesville for about 4 years, and I believe that GPD does not need any more funding. If anything, we should take away some. They get roughly a quarter of our city budget, which is not cool. We have, if you go anywhere in the town, you see houseless people everywhere. And if we have that much money to throw at people with guns who don't wear masks when they come in to eat at my restaurant, we can throw some at the houseless people. They need homes, and the east side of Gainesville has so little infrastructure, and there are so many better ways to take care of our city than putting more money into the police. Thank you. I yield my time.
And now we go to Taylor DeMarcado, followed by Carrie Perez. Taylor?
Hello. Hi, my name is Taylor. I am a Gainesville resident and taxpayer concerned about the increase of the police budget. I definitely think that that money would be better spent in literally any other aspect of the budget, but especially in community programs that are run by existing and new community leaders that are not affiliated with the police, and geared towards making people feel safe and secure living in Gainesville and giving opportunities for people to live and work in our community who are otherwise not able to. Thank you.
And next we'll turn to Carrie Perez. After Carrie will be Rebecca Ferdinand. Carrie, you can provide your comment.
Hi, can y'all hear me?
We can. Please proceed.
Hi, my name is Kari Perez. I'm calling as a community member and Gainesville resident. As someone who's currently working in an aftercare support system for people who are freed from jails that attempt to provide care after violence inflicted by the carceral system, I feel 100% compelled to call in and express my deep disapproval for the increase in the police budget. Increasing the amount of money we give the police only gives them more incentive, tools, and money to jail people who already have the system stacked against them. 453 of the people admitted to Alachua County Jail in 2019 were nonviolent offenders. Many people who are currently in the jail and cages or who our jail support group has freed were only sitting in jail in the middle of a global pandemic due to the fact that they could not afford bail or bond. This means they were jailed because they were poor. This could be mitigated through community care and support that has absolutely zero links to the carceral system. We need to funnel our money into public de-escalation trainings, trauma-informed care trainings, non-publicly owned affordable housing, transportation specifically to and from the east side of Gainesville, and community and youth-centered programs that will foster a sense of togetherness and give people things to be a part of. This should not be created by the police or created to groom and militarize poor and Black children like the Reichardt House, or terrorize our residents with mental health challenges like Meridian. There was a 10.2% proposed decrease in culture and recreation. This is unacceptable. We need to provide culture and recreation stuff for our community members to take part in. We need to assess our attitudes towards social and health issues that are typically criminalized and towards people whose skin color and appearance incriminates them in the eyes of law enforcement. We cannot simply ask social workers and community members to step up to respond to crises, or else they will just become cops by different names. Meridian, which is our only resource for people with mental illness, has been named by community members the place where people go to die. This is unacceptable. We cannot simply reroute people and responsibility. We need to dismantle the racist, classist, and ableist attitudes that target our most vulnerable. We need to work to create holistic systems of care. We need to look at people through fresh, understanding, and compassionate eyes. We must appreciate all of our community members for all the differences in livelihood and culture they have to offer and uplift our most vulnerable. We must build systems of care for our people deserve rather than feed money to the cops for arbitrary equipment and development. I yield my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just an announcement for the callers who have called in but haven't been screened by our staff yet. There are 4 of you on the line, and once we're done with this round of callers, we will get to you and we will take your comments. So Please hold tight and we'll get to you in a moment. Next, we're going to turn to Rebecca Ferdinand, and after Rebecca will be Jay Moliere. Rebecca, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Ferdinand. I am a tax-paying Gainesville resident, and I wanted to share my concerns on the extremely steep increase in our police budget. I wholly support the defunding of the police, but it's imperative for us to know what that exactly means. Instead of focusing thousands and thousands in diving equipment for a landlocked city, we should be allocating these funds toward community programs that, by the way, are not centered around the militarization of our youth, like the Reichert House, but to also require the police force to engage in trauma-informed care. I am pleading for all of you and the citizens of Gainesville to focus on keeping our diverse population not only alive, but physically and mentally cared for. Our crime rates and, in quotations, need for the police would not be as high if our citizens were given food, medical aid physically and mentally, money, and just overall resources to survive and be okay with surviving. So let's please put our money towards what we think will help people grow and not be complacent. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we go to Jay Moliere. After Jay will be James Piniston. Jay, please proceed.
Hello, my name is Jay Moliere. I am a Gainesville resident, and I want to continue the tide of people saying that I thoroughly disagree with the increase in the GPD budget up to $1 million. I would like to ditto the amazing, I think, all women that have already spoken out for what this money could be used for instead. And I would say also to the one gentleman that said that, quote unquote, you are out of your mind to think that taking away armed policemen from areas is a perhaps insane idea. The people who are asking for defunding of the police are not special interest groups. If by special interest group, you mean POC, Black and Brown communities, American citizens, then yes, perhaps we are special interest groups, but we are interested in the continued the growth of the Black and Brown communities in Gainesville, and making sure that people are not fearing for their lives walking the streets. I do not believe that the police in any way are helping our citizenry feel any safer. I don't think that continually adding to their budget will make anyone feel safer. And I would also like to say that using this money to instead give to after school programs, or putting in education, or making sure that people have healthcare, or making sure that people have a place to stay is a much better way to build and grow your community and make a safer community than giving more guns to lynchers. Thank you.
Now to James Piniston, and after James will be Sarah Zlotnick. James, please go ahead.
Hello, my name is James Piniston, and I've lived in Gainesville for the last 5 years. Like many previous callers, I want to express my concern about the amount of money going to law enforcement in the proposed budget. There are hundreds of houseless people living in Gainesville, and many more who do not know if they will have money to buy their next meal. The idea that the city proposes to put more money into a law enforcement system that criminalizes being poor or houseless instead of investing money in services that will actually help these populations is completely ridiculous. Personally, I want to see the city divest from policing and invest in the well-being of our city, particularly houseless and food insecure folks. But if we're not going to do that, I'm asking you to at least change the proposed budget so that the city is not increasing investment in law enforcement next year. That would be a compromise with people like myself who want to see the city defund GPD. Giving you more money is not a compromise. That's completely the opposite of what we're asking for. A compromise is no more money to law enforcement. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we go to Sarah Zlotnick, and after Sarah will be Alfredo Morales. Sarah, please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Sarah Zlotnick, and I'm a Gainesville resident. I am very concerned about how little of the city's budget is currently devoted to funding affordable housing, public transportation, and access to healthy food. I feel strongly that food, housing, and transportation should be guaranteed for all Gainesville residents, but there are currently many people without reliable access to all three. I think it is the responsibility of the city of Gainesville to prioritize making this a reality rather than funneling even more money to the police department. I understand that the city's funds are limited, but I strongly urge you to allocate more funds towards housing, food, and public transportation rather than increasing the police department's budget. Thank you.
And now we go to Alfredo Morales, and Alfredo will be followed by a caller with a last name of, I believe, Bubitz. Alfredo?
Hi, thank you everyone who's spoken. I'm also calling in support of defunding GPD, or at the very least, not giving them an extra millions of dollars. I want to point something out. When Mayor Lauren Poe talked about all the other programs that are also getting funded through GPD, a lot of the conversations we've had have been specifically about removing those programs from GPD's purview. I noticed this is something that I know for a fact that at least 2 commissioners have brought up before, and there is strong support of, as you can hear in the community, for it. So when we talk about this, I would also like some commissioners specifically to talk more about taking away those programs from GPD if they're serious about making them as efficient as possible and actually listening to the community. I also want to point out that the topic of defunding GPD ties into the previous topic of GRU rates. When we had this community forum about the people's budget, which Commissioner David Arreola was at, we actually specifically talked about how GRU ties into GPD budgets and how a lot of those numbers are honestly quite astonishing. Like the fact that the entire revenue that GRU made from selling water almost matches up exactly with GPD's budget, in essence making it so that it seems like our entire water bill basically pays the police department. So there's conversation to be had about how we can reduce people's bills and also tie it into how we can make sure that the police don't get more money. Thank you.
Thank you. And we go now to a caller with a phone number ending in 7076. I believe the last name is Movitz. We're going to take you off the line. I'm just curious, are you calling to speak to the current agenda item?
I am.
Wonderful. You have 3 minutes to provide comment. Please proceed.
Thank you. Mayor Poe, commissioners, thank you for hearing me today. I, like many of the callers before me, are calling in to speak to the GPD portion of this budget. I know the rest of it is very important, but you know, we're trying to keep our citizens safe here. Mayor Poe mentioned body cameras, that much of this, that a portion of this money was going to pay for body cameras, and that we have a union contract for 3 years. Does that union contract have anything about turning off body cameras? If an officer is found to have disengaged their camera, will they be the subject of immediate discipline? I would love to know. As well, the idea of removing gunned or armed officers from our streets, I think, is a great idea. I'm curious to know if there are any plans to reduce school resource officers. This racist arm of the police is used to essentially criminalize a group of young Black and brown people, which we can see through interactions of Gainesville's own basketball cop, noted for slamming a young boy into the hood of a car over a routine traffic stop. So I would really love to know how the commission is going to take the current funding and apply it in, you know, an appropriate way, so that the Gainesville police force is not allowed to run racist and rampant around town. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you. And we have 3 additional callers who have called in and have not yet been screened. We'll take those live on the air now. And we're going to start with caller with a phone number ending in 2276. You're unmuted. Could you please provide your full name and then let us know if you are calling to provide public comment on the current agenda item?
Hello, my name is Joshua Raymer. I am here to provide a comment on the current topic.
Thank you so much. You can proceed. You've got 3 minutes.
Hello, thank you. I would like to know what the total police budget is. Am I allowed to ask questions during this?
Yeah, but I don't want to take up your time. So we'll answer your question after public comment is over. So go ahead and just give your comments, and then after everyone's done, we'll answer that question.
You can watch whatever you want.
Can you provide a listing of the total police budget, break that down by usage, and then inform the public of how much of that is negotiable? That is all I wish to know. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And we'll go now to a caller with a phone number ending in 4688. If we could please get your name and let us know if you're calling to speak about this agenda topic or a future agenda topic.
Yes, my name is Alexander Hinches, and I am calling to speak about the current topic.
All right, Alexander, go ahead. You've got 3 minutes.
All right, good. Much like many of the people before me, I'm here to talk about defunding, or at least, again, not increasing the GPD budget already, which is already more and or at least a quarter of our city's funds. There's absolutely no reason to do any of this. As a former houseless person that had to live on the street, the Gainesville Police Department did bubkiss for me, and also mainly ended up harassing people that ended up helping me out and giving me food in my times of need. All right. It can go to affordable housing. It can go to a lot on the east side in which people actually need this help, rather than giving people more guns and cooler cars because they don't actually need it. And having any programs go through the GPD, all right, having any programs whatsoever, trying to go through that is simply going to end up being corrupted by that broken system already. All right. The system's broken. It clearly is. We all know that it is. So why are we trying to increase the budget and try and fix it by pouring a bunch of money on it? It makes no sense to me. All right. That's about it. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, we're going to go to Daniel Dean. Daniel, please go ahead.
Hey there. Can y'all hear me?
We can. Please proceed.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
We can. Please go ahead.
Hey, I've prepared a statement here, but yeah, this is in regards to the police budget there. What I saw is 36 million, which looks like about a quarter of the general budget. That's a lot of money going towards the police budget. Trying to wake up my computer here. But generally, I mean, I've worked with GPD and as a child welfare worker, and you know, I think really the issue here is poverty. So I've got a statement here. Okay. I'm a former child welfare worker and case manager for disabled veterans. I frequently work with ASO and GPD here in Gainesville. While I appreciate that GPD officers can and do function as peacekeepers in our city, it's imperative that we as a community re-examine the essence, purpose, and outcomes of the criminal justice system and its administration in light of the ongoing police brutality across our nation. Police are operating on this broken windows law enforcement where they're patrolling poor neighborhoods. While there's a need for peacekeeping, our long-term goal needs to be investing in our social systems to get people out of poverty and transferring police responsibilities to mental health and community professionals. I've personally seen that GPD officers bear too many responsibilities and often feel understaffed. We need to reduce their responsibilities, and I urge this commission to reinvest the proposed police budget increase to other programs that can better help reduce poverty in Gainesville. We have to address the abysmal poverty rate in our city, which, according to the last U.S. Census, was around 30% compared to the national average, which is around 10%. That's 1 in 3 people living in poverty, often unable to afford enough food or adequate housing and health care for the children and families. We know that the pandemic has left many more unemployed and underemployed. Our community needs to be lifted from the staggering poverty that engulfs us. We must address the system that allows the obscene income inequality across the nation and here in Gainesville. More money to the police department will not solve our staggering poverty issue. In fact, policing often reinforces poverty by keeping income earners incarcerated. Instead of being rehabilitated, those released are often denied employment, effectively ostracizing them and placing financial burdens on the families. By and large, our poor neighborhoods are made up of Black and brown families who are disproportionately affected by crime and policing. I would like to know what this commission is doing to help the families in impoverished neighborhoods. Gainesville needs jobs with living wages and worker programs to address the real issue, poverty. Resilience comes from within, and we can build neighborhoods resilient to crime by eliminating poverty. Thank you.
Thank you. And after Daniel, we're going to go to Ashley. And after Ashley, there are a couple other callers who we haven't had the opportunity to screen yet, and we'll be getting to your calls next, so please sit tight. Ashley, please go ahead.
Yes, hi there. Can you hear me?
We can. You can go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your time. I'm just calling in about the GPD budget and the possible raise of funds that would be allocated to this department of $1 million. Currently, Gainesville Police Department already holds almost a third of the city budget, while other programs go unattended, such as mental health counseling, primary care, preventative measures for health, transportation. We have a food apartheid that exists here in the city. The east side of Gainesville has one Walmart facility to purchase all of their food, goods, home goods, and that is not adequate for the amount of people living on that side of town. So we could easily take measures to reallocate funds, not only from the GPD budget, but maybe some other aspects of our city budget. Our transportation here in the city is really centered around the University of Florida students, and that does not serve the community at large. Students live here temporarily and seasonally throughout the year, whereas we have a lot of residents who have to get to work, have to get to food sources, have to get to aftercare for their kids, they have to get to school, and that transportation is not in place. There's several RTS routes that don't run Sunday through Saturday. They have limited hours, oftentimes running from 9 to 5. That's not adequate enough for someone to get to a job. And we find around campus that several of the bus routes run continuously every 30 minutes until 2 in the morning. And that's just not okay. How are our citizens supposed to get around this town? I would love to see an equal amount of funds distributed to these programs. I would like to see funds go towards equity for these other programs. Currently, I don't believe GPD needs more money, and I think they need the exact opposite. They need to have these funds reallocated, redistributed to the community and offer support systems. I mean, we could have so many other stronger youth mentor programs. I know we have a Project Youth Build here that is funded through AmeriCorps, that's subsidized by a larger government at their expense, but we could have something like that locally that serves even more youth. I mean, the demand for those types of programs are really competitive. You have parents who are trying to get their kids into these programs, but there's just not enough funding to allocate that, to support that. And I would just love to see more support for programs in the community. I yield my time. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you're just calling in, we will have the opportunity to get to your comment. We're just working through those that have already called in. We turn in next to a phone number ending in 0244. We're going to unmute you. If you could provide your name and just confirm that you're calling to talk about this agenda item rather than a future agenda item.
Hello.
Hi there. Can we get your name?
Hello. I'm Debbie Martinez.
And Debbie, are you calling to talk about the current agenda item?
Yes, please.
All right. You are live to provide public comment. You have 3 minutes. You can proceed.
Okay, thank you so much. So can you all hear me okay?
We can. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Debbie Martinez. I'm from Gainesville, Florida. I'm not the one from Port Charlotte. But I just wanted to, try to give just a little bit of context to what we're all talking about. What we're talking about is a failure that's been made on a federal level. I know a lot of the members on the city commission may not have been born back then, but this all started back with Greyhound therapy when President Reagan did not want to fund the outpatient psychiatric facilities. So they threw all our psychiatric patients, schizophrenics, catatonics, on Greyhound buses and sent them to major cities. Houston, San Diego, LA, and all of a sudden, all these responsibilities for homeless and mentally ill patients, they were left, the responsibility was given to the police department. And that's not what their background was. But nonetheless, they have to be trained and educated to deal with the problems. But I would urge all of you to lobby our elected officials in Washington to have them fund mental health problems, because we can't keep trying to fund all the failures that have been made on a federal level on the backs of the poor people here in Gainesville and Alachua County. And I appreciate you wanting to have the best trained and the best educated officers that we can get, but that does cost money. And I remember you all, not maybe 2 months ago, you had a town hall meeting and Miss Rosa Williams spoke. And, you know, I remember her from decades back working on the Black on Black Task Force meeting, and she begged this commission. It took them decades to get the kind of police presence that they have now in their neighborhoods, where they can finally sit on the porch without being terrified. So we've got to have a balance here. And the other thing is, remember ghost guns. Now, with the internet, we have this proliferation of guns where you can buy ghost guns on the internet where they cannot be traced. And Chief Tony Jones has told us that gun violence has doubled this year. So I realize that you all are trying to help homeless, mentally ill, public safety, but you really have to be careful here in what you're doing. But at the same time, keep in mind that it costs money to have well-trained and well-educated officers to provide the type of public safety that we need. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've had a few more people call in during the last comment or so. If it's okay with you, I think we're going to step aside and screen those callers outside of the live broadcast to make sure that everyone's calling about the current topic.
Sure, go ahead. Lee, did you want to say something while the screening's going on?
I did. So, Mayor, Commissioners, I don't normally interrupt public comment, but I wanted to just do a fact check here. So, as it's reported in our budget and brief document, there was only a $221,759 increase in GPD's budget from fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 21. So I've heard several speakers talk about $1 million increase, and I'm not sure where that number comes from.
Okay, thanks. And I actually looked up the total budget's about 36.5 million. And then the question was, what of that is negotiable? So all employees by union contract are part of the state collective bargaining process. And so those contracts are all negotiated. We're currently on a first year of a 3-year contract. And then all other employees are not able to negotiate their contract if they're not represented. So those folks cannot negotiate. and then of the budget, most of it is personnel people, and then the remainder are things like equipment. I'm not sure if that was part of the question or not. Kyle, are you ready to go?
We are. We have another group queued up and ready to provide comment.
Great. So back to.
Sorry. We're going to go ahead and begin with Ava Kaplan, and after Ava will be Lula Moore. Ava, please proceed.
Hello.
Hi, Ava. You're live and ready to provide comment.
Great, thanks. So my name's Ava. I'm a Gainesville resident and a voter here. And like everyone else, I'd like to urge the commission to decrease the Gainesville Police Department budget. Whoever clarified the breakdown of the stated, I think it was the $1 million increase before, I want to thank you for that information. It was very helpful, but it did not convince me any less that the funding is unnecessary and harmful. You mentioned that the majority of that money is a result of the union salary negotiations. But if hundreds of thousands of dollars are going to police salaries, I feel like a simple solution would just be to hire less police officers. It's very frustrating that those funds are viewed as immovable and locked in this contract when it's very much possible to A, just decrease the number of cops on the streets who, as we've heard from many sources, spend most of their time terrorizing poor people and people of color. And B, it's also frustrating that those negotiations happen behind the scenes with no input from the citizens they're supposed to serve and protect. Furthermore, you said that the remaining $300,000 that are apparently going to mental health services and youth programs or whatever you said, if that's the case, I don't understand why that money is going to the police department when there are many underfunded and pre-existing institutions that are striving towards these same goals in Gainesville. I feel like the other local initiatives need this money much more than the police department does, and the money would be much better served there. So it's just disappointing to see the commission put so little genuine effort or critical thought into actively responding what it is apparent so many citizens and primarily the most vulnerable people in this town are clearly asking for. That's all I got to say. Thank you for your time.
And now we turn to Lula Moore. After Lula will be David Jonas. Lula, you're on the line and you can begin.
Hi, my name is Lula Moore, and I'm a resident of Gainesville, Florida. And I just like to say, that the police department has been a very uplifting help to my family, and also with the juvenile justice and the record house. They need the funding, to do what they need to do. They've been a great help. My son graduated from the record house back in the day. Well, I'm over school, so he went to the record house. And the record house, they formed, committees, and they formed principals, to help the young men, the boys and stuff that was out, on the street and everything. And my hats off to all of the officers, all of the ones that work in that field, that's with the record house. So I appreciate everything that they've done because it made my son a better son. And he now is focusing on opening up a record house in Georgia. He's not here. He's staying in Georgia. So he's trying to get something going for the young people that's there because of the structure that he got here. So I appreciate that. And, I'd just like to say, any way that I can help or anything, that I can do, to help, the program, be run further, that we run more smoothly. I would like to see that happen for our young people.
Thanks, Lula. We go now to David Jonas. After David will be Robert Jammer. David, please proceed.
Hello. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I just want to say I've been a resident of Gainesville, Florida. I grew up in Gainesville. I was born at Chance. And I tell you, man, defunding the police department, I would think it's a big mistake because Gainesville is a small town and they have a lot of resources. If anything, I think they should retrain and look at how some of the officers coexist with the public. It's all about training. There's a lot of officers you can go up on the east side of town or just go up and you can just hold a casual conversation and it makes you feel good that you have this police presence there. It makes you feel good. There's some officers that are just not nice at all, but it's all in training. It's all in training. You got a lot of kids that are growing up in single family homes And to speak on the Riker House is what I want to speak on. There's a lot of young men growing up in single family homes and they don't have a father figure. That Riker House does a lot for these kids. And for people that don't understand, take a visit, take a tour of the Riker House and see what it offers. A lot of these kids don't even have people to help them with homework or have rides from school or square meals. But you have something like the Riker House that offers that and want to give this kid a second chance in life. So defunding the police department, I think it's a big mistake. Take that money and put it in other places that could help instead of defunding, because they offer a lot and they give a lot. And the chief, I tell you, I can go up to this Chief Jones and speak to him on a casual, and it's fine. And that's what we like. That's what we need. That's what we need from officers. Hire officers, train officers, keep that Riker House rolling. Let's make these young men grow up to be men, responsible men. Thank you. That's all I wanted to add.
Thank you. And before we turn to Robert Jammer, I just wanted to let the callers who have recently dialed in know that after we work through the about 3 folks that we already have queued up, we will turn to your comments. So please stay on the line and we will get to you in due time. So now we go to Robert Jammer. After Robert will be Case Lane. Robert, please go ahead.
Thank you. Just calling in to reiterate that I think defunding the police department would be a very naive and foolish action. I think our police deserve, if anything, more funding, and our community is bettered by better training. And I really want to express the success of programs like Riker House. I have witnessed firsthand many young men who've come through that program, and the effort that the GPD and the officers and the staff of Riker House put forward into helping, reaching out into the community and taking care of our young men and giving them other alternatives other than prison and jail. And so I want to just re-emphasize that Riker House is an extremely successful program, and they don't just, it's not military, it's actually mentoring men, mentoring other young men and showing them the right way to behave and to act and to set goals for themselves. And so I just want to encourage you to not take away funding, but if anything, add funding. Thank you.
And now we turn to Case Lane. Following Case will be a caller named Kelvin. Case, please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Kate Lane, and I am a resident of Gainesville. I come to you all because I really believe that the commission, that all of you, the mayor, the city manager, that all of you want to represent our community best. I believe that you are all capable and have committed yourselves to serving us, and I know that you want to do what is the right thing for our people. I think we all know that our communities have needs. It's so hard living here and seeing so much inequality and equity around me, especially living a few blocks away from City Hall. I was part of the People's Budget Forum that was put on by Dream Defenders and saw the survey that had over 300 Alachua County or Gainesville City residents, and they all filled out, and the majority of people said that the biggest need for our community is affordable housing. Following suit is transportation. The extra $1 million that's going to GPD could really bring equity to the city, like you all envisioned yourselves doing when you took on this role. Although I wish we could defund the entire police department, I believe that we can compromise. Mayor Lauren Poe the other day said, you told us that you would be willing to compromise with us. And I believe that the commission has the power to make a big difference by mitigating any additional funds that would be going to GPD to go to the community instead. This is the little bit that many of us are asking you for. If you choose to keep funding the police department, then know that you are choosing to defund all the programs that actually need funding. You would be taking money away from us. Our budget is not infinite. We all know this. It is extremely limited. So please, I ask that, and I know that you want to compromise with us, and I am asking that that is what you will do at the end of today. Thank you so much.
Now to a caller with the name of Kelvin. Kelvin, we've taken you off mute. You can go ahead with your comment.
Yes, I think defunding the Gainesville Police Department is not the the solution that we need. I've been a resident of Gainesville for 10 plus years now, and I can honestly say that GPD does a magnificent job in the community. Community policing is up to date. She Jones training police officers constantly, and I watch them on a daily interact with the community, low income, middle income, and high income. As far as the Riker House Youth Academy, it's been a staple on the east side of Gainesville since 1987, and it's been there for a reason. Volunteering there a few years, I've noticed 1,000 plus kids come through those doors, and all of them be successful. To the point where it's a waiting list. There's always a waiting list at the Riker House, and if the Riker House was so bad, there wouldn't be a waiting list. So I think our focus is in the wrong place. It shouldn't be about defunding the police or shutting down the Riker House. It's to be about bringing the communities together, and like the last caller said, bringing some equality to everything. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. And we've had an additional caller call in during that last comment. Phone number ending in 9948. Caller 9948. We're going to unmute your line. Could you please state your name and let us know if you're calling to provide comment on the current agenda item?
My name is Kiara Laurent, and I'm trying to, provide comment.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You have 3 minutes to provide your comment. You can go ahead.
Hi, I'm a Gainesville City resident, and for the past 2 years, I lived in Gainesville. I noticed the inequity and the differences of the city, from like going to the west side to the east side, from the amount of food resources people have, to transportation, to medical needs, to education, and to housing. We neglect people, and it's not only about just like neglect. It's about how much money is being needed for these things, and yet we continue to fund something that doesn't need any more money. We give millions and millions of dollars to GPD, and not so much to our children, not so much to our families, to our houseless folks. And $1 million, that's an increase to the GPD budget, is $1 million that can provide housing for people, help people during this global pandemic, give people access to transportation just to go to their jobs or to provide for their families. So I just asked the city commissioners to really think about what $1 million can do for the people of Gainesville versus the millions of dollars that's already funded for GPD. And $1 million is just a small amount for GPD, but everything for these people who are just asking for a little more care, support, and love. So I just hope that y'all can take the time and consideration to really do what's right for Gainesville. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And now to caller with a phone number ending in 3966. Could you please let us know your name and confirm that you're calling about this agenda item rather than a future agenda item? Caller 3966, are you there? You're live and on the air.
Yes, Doris Edwards.
Hi, Doris, and are you calling to talk about the current discussion item?
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. You have 3 minutes. You can go ahead and start providing your comment.
Thank you. My name is Doris Edwards, and I'm a community activist. I've been very involved with the Gainesville Police Department, with the city of Gainesville as a whole, to make this city a better place. We have had so many symposiums, so many workshops. We've had specialists come in to help us pool our knowledge together, think tanks, etc., so that we can make this city a better place. And this has gone on for many, many years. Great results have come out of our meetings, so that we, the citizens, the stakeholders, can have put in place what we need and what we want. Gainesville Police Department is one of the components that has really turned this city around, especially poor areas like East Gainesville, Phoenix, and some of the other lower rental areas. The Gainesville Police Department has programs that's helping. If you could go back and go through history and see what went on 20 years ago in this city compared to what's going on now, you will be so proud, okay? We're a prototype. When other people like Jacksonville, when we go to seminars in Jacksonville, that's what we as neighborhood watch people do. We go with Gainesville Police Department. They're far behind. We're not. We're far ahead, okay? Don't ruin a good thing. The Racket House, I've worked with the Racket House, been on the board, etc. These are programs that are helping our youth, that's making this city a #1 city. Defunding the police is not going to happen. I know you got a lot of people organizing some little things. Most of them have cards and IDs, don't live here. They're not stakeholders. Defund the police, we'll defund city commission. Do something like bankrupt the jail. Keep people out of the jail so the jail will go flat. It does not need to keep housing people. We can do things that help. Don't take money away from the Gainesville Police Department that's going to cause issues and revert back to where we come from. Okay, we've come a long way, and we intend to keep it that way. So we're going to join together in a big group, just like the other little group, and we will come out on top, because what we're doing now is what we need. So they should join us. We're not joining you. Thank you, everybody. Keep safe and have a great evening.
Thank you. And we've had a couple more folks dial in during the last few comments, and we will be getting to your comment momentarily. We have several phone numbers that have been queued up that we're going to get to first. Next, we're going to turn to caller with a phone number ending in 2239. If you could please provide your name and confirm that you're calling to discuss the current topic.
Hi, my name is Dmitry Podobreyev. I'm a little bit disappointed with this city budget. I definitely would like to see some things change before the final one. Mostly just more money for housing, more money for the youth. These are the things that are the biggest problems, and these are the things that are the ones, driving crime. Giving a quarter of the budget, a little bit more than a quarter of the budget to the police department, it doesn't necessarily make sense if you want to decrease crime. So that money would be much better spent on housing initiatives and things like that, especially since a big part of the changes that are happening this year, at least according to what I believe Mayor Poe had said in a previous meeting, is that a number of the positions in GPD are going to be turned into non-sworn officer positions. And if those positions are going to be dealing with some social issues, I think it would make a lot more sense to instead, take the money that would be used to hire these people and to fund these people, and instead give it to the actual programs that would deal with it directly. So thank you. That's what I would want. More money to go towards. And if it has to come from the police, then they already get a quarter of the money. So that's probably a good investment. Thank you.
And next we'll go to a phone number ending in 0929. And we're going to take you off mute. If you could provide your name and confirm that you're talking or calling to provide comment on the current agenda item.
Yes, of course. Good afternoon, City Commission. Mr. Dijon Kane. I am one that has grew up in the Gainesville area, born and raised here. And again, we're at this stake where we're talking about defunding the Gainesville Police Department. What a shame. Some of the programs that we have had, Gainesville Police Explorers, that I was a part of for almost 5 years. We have not had many issues in this city because, number one, we have a police chief that has been dedicated to the city of Gainesville, to the citizens of Gainesville, and every citizen in Gainesville for a very long time. His reputation has kept us all together. His strategies have kept us all together. When we talk about keeping things the way they are, when we talk about trying to defund the police department along with the record house and other programs that have kept our young people out of trouble. Of course, we don't make all the right decisions sometimes, but one thing that I've learned is we have the police chief, and he has a great job to do. But I want to remind people that defunding the police department is a fundamental and a mistake that will take us back. Looking at East Gainesville, looking at the progress that it's made, and my God, it's made progress, but we're still behind. I got a call earlier today about a shooting on one of my properties that we patrol earlier today. GPD was there within minutes to handle the situation. We cannot afford that when we talk about defunding the police department. Who are we going to call? City commissioners, who are you going to call? Residents that don't live here, who are you going to call? I look at people that talk, a lot of them, they're here for a season and they're gone. Well, I'm not just here for a season. Residents are just not here for a season. We're here for a lifetime. We cannot do that. Now, I want to just throw this out to our city commission. We talk about we want to defund the police department. First, what we need to do is make our police chief a chartered officer. I understand we have a city manager, but the city manager didn't go to police academy. The city manager didn't do all those things to become a police officer and to work his way up from captain to chief. He has to have our full support in this community and the full authority to make the changes in the police department that need to be made in order to keep us going 100% as been made before. But he can't do that being a non-chartered officer. The police chief has to go through the city manager, and the city manager gives him instructions. I just have never understood how that works, because you can't give me instructions if you ain't never been on the battlefield or in my shoes. You have to be in the trenches. You have to be in the dirt. You have to understand that here in the city of Gainesville, we have that's my 3 minutes? Okay, is that my 3 minutes?
That's correct.
All right, thank you, sir.
And now to a phone number ending in 4574. If you could please provide your name.
Oh, hi. My name is Elizabeth Pratt. I'm a resident of Gainesville, Florida. I was just calling to express my disappointment with the proposed city budget. There have been talks about defunding the police for weeks and weeks, and it seems like a huge misunderstanding of the concept is that defunding the police just simply means reallocating resources. We hear all the time about how police officers are just under so much stress and under so much pressure and are asked to do more than they can do. And I agree with that. Police can't be responsible for providing mental health care, youth services, addressing poverty and houselessness, school security, natural disaster response, and all of the other things that we put on police officers. There are people who spend their whole lives studying these different issues that are more equipped to handle and address them. It just simply means taking some of these responsibilities off of police officers and then moving funds from the police to other programs that are designed to specifically address these issues that are run by people that are educated specifically in how to do them. I don't think that that's really that radical, to be honest. I think it makes a lot of sense. I would much rather have youth programs run by people with degrees in child development. It just makes sense to me, and I think that applies to all of these issues. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you for hearing me, and I yield the rest of my time.
Now, after Elizabeth, we're going to a caller with a phone number ending in 3257. If you could please state your name and whether or not you're calling to discuss the current topic.
Yes, I am LaTroy Strappy, principal at Lincoln Middle School, and I'm here to discuss the topic of the record house and how pertinent it has been for us at Lincoln Middle School.
Please proceed.
Okay. All right. So I am a Gainesville born and raised on the east side, have matriculated through several schools to eventually become a principal. let me just inform you of the impact the Record House has made for me on my campus. In this day and age of broken households, this day and age of confused young individuals following behind anything that would give them guidance or leadership in any kind of family form or fashion, the Record House has created a wedge to separate some of my young individuals from making some horribly bad choices. Not only have they been there in our hallways, bonding with our young individuals, but they've also gave guidance and leadership. The three things that we believe in over at Lincoln, and that is relationships, partnerships, and leadership. These three ships is what has been a catalyst for us to create a very diverse campus. Record House has been with us from beginning to end through this journey with us. Not only do they mentor these young gentlemen by giving them good quality relationships, but a lot of times they fill in as fathers, uncles, role models, take them on trips, show them things that they've never experienced, visiting a football game at the University of Florida, things of that nature that although they live in Gainesville, they've never done before. Secondly, partnerships. They combine with these families from broken homes. They may be dealing with a grandmother who's raising several young individuals that possibly don't have the ability to relate to them. Well, they do that. They partner with these parents. They find a way to bond with them, to also just create a link, where they help them out as far as their learning, their educational needs and things of that nature. And lastly, and the biggest component is leadership. These young individuals that participate in the Record House program, they end up being on my football teams. They end up being on my basketball team. They end up being leaders in my student body government. They embark on different areas or avenues that they possibly would have never even thought of without the encouragement for those gentlemen from Record House. They're in my hallways. They serve on lunch duties. They visit these young gentlemen in their games, participating in sports and things of that nature. Therefore, I do understand the thought of give this type of responsibility to somebody who's been in school and trained upon these certain things, but it's also about relatability. When you have these individuals that have grown up on the east side of Gainesville and they know the challenges, they're able to bond with somebody that has not done it solely in theory. And you're speaking from someone who has done it in theory, i.e. my position as principal, but it means so much more when you actually walk those same neighborhoods that these young individuals have walked. So that's just my little point again. Mr. Strappy, the principal of Lincoln Middle School, Record House is a wonderful, wonderful program.
Next 3 minutes.
They've been outstanding for my individuals at my school. All right. Thank you for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thank you. And if you called in during the last couple of comments, we did want to note that we are amidst public comment and there are several callers that are already queued up, and we will get to your comment in due course. Next, we're going to turn to a caller with a phone number ending in 1004. 1004, if you could provide your name and just confirm that you're calling to talk about this agenda item rather than agenda item to follow.
Yes, sir. My name is April Dooley, and I am calling about the Record House concern.
Thank you. Please proceed. You've got 3 minutes.
Thank you. Again, as I said before, my name is April Dooley. I am an alumni of the Record House. I graduated in 1997. I was one of the key leaders there, actually was president in 1997. Record House assisted me in walking onto the University of Florida's campus where I graduated 2001. Eventually ended up working with the city, which I currently work for currently doing 14 years with the city now. Program has allowed me to be exposed to various different things. I wasn't an at-risk youth. However, my father did pass away. He was killed when I was 12. Didn't have that guidance. It provided some of that father figure guidance, allowed me to meet young men my age. And we still are friends till this day. Been to a lot of marriages, been to a lot of funerals, and a lot of different things with single families. So they have allowed me to build bonds, which some street programs or different things in games at that time did not. Program has allowed my young brother to go on and do great things as well. My young brother, through the program, is currently a lawyer. Program has also developed some doctors, some military personnel. Had a stepson who currently is a military service, just graduated as well. I hear a lot of things about this program, and as an alumni, I'm kind of offended. I'm kind of offended that there are productive members in society giving back to the community, but those items and those individuals are not portrayed as decent individuals from this community born and raised. I'm just sharing my experiences firsthand, sharing my experiences with friends or family firsthand. I just think it needs to be more attentive because this program is doing a lot for the citizens, working with the citizens and producing young, productive young men. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you. And now we go to a phone number ending in 4634. If you could please provide your name and let us know if you're calling to talk about this agenda item or an agenda item to follow.
Hello, my name is Pamela Richardson, and I am a community advocate and a Alachua County School Board employee. And I would like to say a few things in behalf of the Riker House, if I may.
Please go ahead.
First of all, I don't think I can express enough how a program such as the Riker House impacts the youth in our community at East Gainesville. To work with at-risk children, you have to be able to have a cultural, relatable, significant relationship with families and children. It is not easy to bridge through the different layers of the Black families. So to have a program in existence to break through those barriers with those families and those children in such a significant way that parents feel like they're important aspects of the program and their children's lives. That program presents life to those families and children. A lot of those children are without male figures. Those people who work there, those young men who work there, give hours and hours and hours of their time to those children and build up their self-esteem and their self-awareness in such a way that those children leave respecting the authority figure of the Record House. That is significant in our community. A lot of those children come back later, the parents come back later and say, if it had not been for Mr. McCoy being a part of my child's life, if it had not been for Mr. Alexander being a part of my child's life, if it had not been for Captain Jones being a part of my child's life, those parents need the Riker House program. People from the outside who have book knowledge, who doesn't have the cultural awareness of those children, can never understand the significance of such a program. That program is a significant part of the community. And I wish you could just be there and partake in that and talk to some of the families of the children who are part of that program, and you would see how significant that program is to our community. And I thank you for listening to me tonight.
We have a couple more callers on the line. First, we have a caller with a phone number ending in 6113. If you could please provide your name and confirm that you're calling about the current agenda item.
Yes, this is Errol Porter.
And are you calling to talk about the current topic? We can.
Yes, yes. As a former police officer at the Gainesville Police Department, as well as working with the Riker House for approximately 8 months, I definitely would say my tenure of serving with the local community and as well as employees, the Riker House has the leadership there is very well necessary to have that program to continue. As a former militant person, I served 8 years, and it's not remotely close to any, nothing like the military. Do they lead by example? Absolutely. Without that program, I think Gainesville will be in a horrible situation. As the last caller mentioned, those guys lead by example. They're a father figure. They wake up early mornings, their own time, and they show their leadership ability every single day, hard work, dedication, perseverance, and more importantly, it's not about, and this is through their actions and their example. It's not about where you come from, is what you're made of. So I definitely vouch for that program, and I wish that whoever the authorities that host these meetings, they really consider that this program stay intact. And I commend Chief Jones, Alexander, Lou, and all the other guys that work within the program. That's pretty much what I have to say.
Thank you. And we've had a couple more callers call in. We'll go to Karine Duville, followed by Pastor Anderson. Karine, you are up.
Hi, I just wanted to call in to express how I feel like these programs that are continuously funded through the city and through our tax dollars that collaborate with policing, I feel like are very harmful to the community. Despite the fact that they may have subliminal, temporary positive effects for certain people within the programs, overall, the institution of policing has been found to be very harmful to not only minority communities, but communities overall, because it essentially stops us from having the ability to be sufficient for ourselves and to create a community for one another where we don't have to resort to violence and reactionary approaches to justice. We can find true justice, justice that doesn't revolve around consistently bringing people back into the system. So I'm a member of this community who would really like to see our dollars not go towards more policing. And I feel like that is the bare minimum that I could ask at this moment, for us to not continuously pour in more resources towards an institution that simply does not help our community the way it's supposed to. And so that is how I feel about the subject and how our funds are being used. And I hope that throughout this next cycle coming up, we start to really look into alternative approaches that really center around the people, the future, youth development, mental health care resources, and things that don't involve militants and violence. Thank you. I yield my time.
And now we turn to Pastor Anderson. Pastor Anderson, you may provide your comment.
Hey, how you doing this evening? Mayor and commissioners, we thank you for this opportunity to share with share before you tonight. Again, I just want to share my heart concerning these programs and how they've been such a blessing and a benefit to our community. Defunding the police, I feel like will be a detriment to our community and society. I would like us to simply look at the data, the numbers, and let's look at how many lives these programs have transformed. And I can tell you firsthand, I've brought young men to these programs, including the BOLD program. And these lives, these guys were changed when they came out of them. They learned to respect, they learned social skills, they built character in them, and they helped get them jobs, and they helped them, gain skills. Some have even gone to college and gotten vocational, certifications. And so, this is just a distraction. We've made it so far with these programs, and many of us in our churches and many of us in this community have been in the trenches working. We've seen what it can do, and so I understand what we have going on in our country, but this is Gainesville, and we are blessed to have a wonderful chief, a wonderful staff, wonderful department. No, it's not perfect. We don't even have, we're going to always have, again, as I said before, last time I came before you all, There bad apples in every organization. But it's all on how you hold them accountable, and you begin to correct those things. But tonight, I just wanted to call and just share again with you, plead with you let's continue to do what we've been doing. We are a lot further ahead than a lot of other municipalities, and I'm looking forward to us going even higher as the chief and his staff is looking forward to really just increasing the training and pouring into our young men and our community as a whole. Something that the chief always say that I've espoused: you can't arrest your way to a better community. You have to. You can't do that. You got to have prevention and intervention. And so, with leadership like that, with a mission like that, you got to know that we're blessed like that. And so let's not go backwards. Let's see how we can work together, continue to fund these police, let them know that they are worth. They're valuable to us, and also let them know that the program that they have is valuable to us. God bless you. Thank you for your time.
And next we'll go to Michael Shea. After Michael, there's a group of additional callers that we'll screen live on air, about 3 or so. Michael, please go ahead. Michael, if you're there, you can provide your public comment. Michael Shea. Michael, if you're there, you can go ahead with your comment. We may try to come back to Michael. For now, we're going to go to caller with a phone number ending in 5170. If you could please provide your name and let us know if you're calling to speak about the current agenda item. Caller with a phone number ending in 5170, you're off mute right now. If you could provide your phone or your name, and please let us know if you're calling about the current agenda item.
Yes, you can hear me?
We can. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm John Ellis, and I'm calling in to talk about the Racker House. And what I wanted to say about the program was kind of embarrassed as an alumni of the program to hear what's going on. I sit here with my wife, with my 2 kids. I just put to bed, and I think about the great job that I have and being able to travel the world and getting ready to go to Korea in a couple of weeks to actually do a presentation on mentoring young men. And it's all because of the Racker House. Everything that I am, everything that I became. And when you look at everything that the program has to offer, one thing that we've always offered, and Chief Jones has always offered with the Racker House, is an open door policy. I think that what we have is a bunch of individuals who are commenting on situations that they really don't understand. Neither do they care to search out the true facts. Because if they did, they will understand that what the program says from the incarceration system is beyond recognition. The program has been recognized on an international level to win an award called the International Association of Chief of Police Award. We beat out Great Britain for that award. Those are the type of facts that are not talked about. It's not talked about how other countries flying in to see what we've done at the Racker House, because we really save lives. Hear a lot of people speaking about the social service aspects, but they don't understand the aspects of how many times we've housed families, we've paid light bills, we fed families, and we still do to this day. The outreach that we pour into churches, the community services that we do. We do the community service that many of the individuals called in about will not do. They won't get out there and pick up trash. They won't get out there and feed the homeless. They won't get out there and sacrifice their time. The staff that we have in Kemper, best staff that ever could be there, and to question and challenge their ability to work with those young men is insane. Because again, these are individuals who have sacrificed their families, sacrificed their lives to make sure that other young men have a chance at life. Not even a second chance, but a first chance. And I commend anybody that's working at that program and support the program. We actually, anybody that has any type of resource, we open up to it. Anybody that has anything to offer to those young men to contribute to the success of the program, we offer it to you. Come by and see us.
Okay, we have 2 additional callers that have called in since the last round of comments. And we're going to start with caller 3816. If you could provide your name and just confirm that you're calling to talk about the current agenda item.
Yeah, my name is Bethany Bechtel. Are you there?
Hi,
Hello?
Bethany. Are you calling to talk about the current agenda item?
I was going to talk about the police budget. Is that what we're talking about, the budget?
It is. You can go ahead. You're live and on the air. You've got 3 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to make a suggestion that instead of giving the funds the $1 million extra to the police department, that we actually take a look at establishing another program for diverting 911 calls to de-escalation people when it's potentially a mental health issue. And what I really wanted to propose was taking the program in Eugene, Oregon as a model, because Eugene is very similar to our community here. It's the same size town, mid-sized university town. And I think that they've had a program there for 30 years where they've been diverting 911 calls that are related to mental health. And they've had a lot of success with that. They haven't had anyone injured in the program. I don't believe they've even had to call for police backup. Most of the time what they do is when somebody gets a 911 call, when the dispatcher gets the call, they divert it. It sounds like it's a mental health issue. Instead of sending the police out, they'll send social workers out who can de-escalate people, talk to people, and get them the services that they need. So I was just proposing that we check out what's going on in Eugene, maybe partner with them and use them as an example, and I'll follow that model because it's been very successful there, very encouraging. Yeah, so that's what I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you. And we go now to caller 7887. If you could please provide your name and let us know if you're calling to talk about the current agenda item.
Hello, my name is Tristan Wood. I'm a reporter for The Alligator. I just wanted to ask the commissioners about a way that the callers have been going that has kind of confused me a little bit. And I just was wondering if they could clarify during their public comment while I'm writing my story so I can report accurately, so I can accurately represent what the commission can do. I've heard some callers ask for the defunding of police, and I've also heard, but on the flip side, a lot of the other calls I've heard against defunding the police have been specifically talking about the Reichert House and how that shouldn't be defunded. If you guys explored policy that would reduce the funding of the police department, would you guys have control over that? Like, would it automatically, if you guys decrease funding with the police department, be like, oh, well, the Reichert House is gone now? Or could you guys specifically target where those funds would have to be removed from within their budget? If you could clarify that, because it seems like the callers have provided 2 different things, and it's kind of confusing to me. It could do some good clarification for the story and also for the public. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I see that we have a hand raised. Would you like to address that before we move forward with additional comments?
We'll answer questions at the end of public comment.
Great. Then we're going to try one more time. Michael Shea, we're going to unmute you. If you're there, you can go ahead and provide your public comment. Michael, if you're there, you can go ahead.
Hello?
Michael, you're live and on the air. You can go ahead and provide your comment. You've got 3 minutes.
Can everybody hear me?
We can.
Hello?
Michael, you can proceed. Michael, go ahead.
I don't know. This is Eugene Robinson. Am I on the call?
Apologies, Eugene. We've got your name listed with the wrong phone number. Eugene, you're live, and if you're calling about the current topic, you can go ahead with 3 minutes for public comment. Apologies for
Okay.
confusion there.
Okay. I appreciate you, though. Well, how everybody doing on this call? My name is Eugene Robinson IV. I am a senior this year at the Great Bethune-Cookman University, and basically speaking on behalf of the Racket House Youth Academy, and I'm a proud alumni of the 2017 class. Basically, I just want to say how the Racket House impacted my life. Like, growing up in a single-parent home with my father being deceased when I was 7 years old, my mother, she just thought that me and my twin brother should have some type of male figure in our life. And honestly, I can say that the Racket House has impacted my life and my twin brother's life tremendously through all the disciplinary, through academics, through mentally, through pushing us through all type of stereotypes we had. We used to stay in a neighborhood called Village Green Apartments, and it was just a lot going on in that time. And just going to Racket House, just trying to push our mindsets from thinking that like just staying in one type of place era. Like we really never honestly like went to trips and all like beaches out of town to different colleges and stuff. And like just going to Racket House, it opened up that gateway for us. It gave us another vision, another mind. It gave us another life, I should say, that we never thought that we would have. And I can just remember now, like I was asking myself 4 years ago, am I going to graduate from high school? Am I going to have a good GPA? Am I going to be successful? And Racket House made it possible for me through so many outlets that I can just imagine. And it's like now I'm looking at it like I'm really in college about to graduate. And it's crazy. It is crazy what that program does for all type of kids that come through. No matter if they stay, no matter if they graduate, no, just period. Like the content they produce for us, it's like Gainesville should just be thankful that they have a program that's different than most cities that any other program have. Like I'm just thinking like, wow, like I said, like I'm really finna graduate from Bethune-Cookman University, one of the best HBCU schools in Florida. And it's just like, I came from somewhere. I came from Racket House. I came from Gainesville. And it's just crazy because I look at all the students from all over everywhere, and some of them had good households, some of them didn't, but I just narrowed it down to me and just thinking like, wow, you really are somebody. You really do, like you are a positive figure in life. You do motivate people. I got people all the time telling me at school like, hey, like, you know, I don't really know about you, but you just seem like that type of leader. And then when I think about it, I'm like, wow, I really appreciate the Racket House. And everything I'm saying is very authentic. No script, no nothing. It's just, it's a lot. And like I said, I just want to thank every staff that's probably listening right now from the Racket House. And I just want to say I appreciate y'all so much, especially for giving me this opportunity to speak upon y'all, to speak upon all the lessons y'all taught me and every other student that went there. And I just thank y'all so much. And like I said, I would never want to see the program go down for anything. I always want to see the positivity. And I'm just thankful for what the Racket House has done for me. And I just hope that everybody that's on this call would just open their hearts and to take initiative to see what this program has really done for a lot of students.
Thanks so much for calling in. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Eugene. Next, we're going to go to Rhea Thomas. After Rhea will be Faye Williams. Rhea, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. Please proceed.
Hello. Yeah, I'm calling to say that I am against the proposal to increase the GPD budget. And in fact, I'm of the same opinion of many others in this community that I would actually like the city to decrease the GP's budget and reinvest those funds into programs that would actually be helpful to our city. And the fact that we have many houseless people, and those people are not only not only could those funds be redirected into, you know, actually getting people housing and affordable housing, but also it would be taken away from the exact force, which is the GPD, that actually criminalizes those same houseless people. And I also would like to, I would also like to know, like, what the question that the alligator reporter was asking about, does the city have any say-so in where, if they were to defund the GPD, where those funds be taken out of, and so that they would not be taken out of the racket house primarily. Because I also do remember being on a meeting a while back that was with, I think, several police chiefs and the city commission, and the police chiefs were kind of saying the same thing of like, oh, if you take any money away from us, then we won't be able to provide the racket house. And I don't know, I feel like that's very telling of where their priorities are and what they're really about. So yeah, I just want to reiterate that I am totally against this increase of $1 million. The GPD already takes up a quarter of our budget, which is insane, and those funds could go to much more meaningful places that will have much more positive impact on our community. Thank you.
Thanks. And now we go to Faye Williams. Faye, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody. I'm calling in because I'm listening. And I'm a little disturbed by what I'm hearing. Number one, this meeting and these calls are not about Riker House. I want to back up and say I love Tony Jones, I love John Alexander, and I also love the Dream Defenders. I am disturbed because $1 million could make a major impact in this city. I'm opposed to $1 million going to the GPD. We've been stuck on Record House for at least another 45 minutes, I think. 45 minutes talking about Record House. That wasn't the purpose of this meeting. The purpose of this meeting was to talk about the budget. And yes, Record House is part of the budget. And to have 37% of tax revenue going to Record House, that's a lot. So I'm opposed to giving another $1 million to Record House. $1 million, we could have more counselors. There was a guy who shot himself committed suicide 2 weeks ago over in Porter's Quarters. We didn't have any counselors come out. They were not available, okay? That money could be used for laptops for the schools because the children over in Porter's, they don't have any laptops. $1 million, that could be used for housing or bus fare. And I don't understand why anybody would be asking for $1 million to go to the Gainesville Police Department. Have you looked at the news lately? Most cities are defunding, or maybe we should call it reallocating. But Gainesville, we're doing the same thing over and over and over. You know, what else can we say? It's not about Racket House. I want to be a volunteer over at Racket House and encouraging everybody else who have time and resources to support Racket House. But let's not let this conversation be only about Racket House, because that's not really the issue. The issue is $1 million to Gainesville Police Department. Come on, be serious. Take charge of it. Look at what you're doing. Look at it. The Dream Defenders, you got your eyes on it. Hold on, the prize is coming. You're doing the right thing. But you need to understand the history of Racket House. And that's what I was telling y'all. Nobody can complain against Racket House. Nobody, in terms of the black community, because we know and we admire Tony Jones and we admire what Racket House is doing.
And that's 3 minutes.
But we are against the budget. We are against the budget. So stand strong, make more calls, and let's make something happen with that budget, something positive. Good night.
We have an additional caller who's dialed in with a phone number ending in 7251. Could we please get your name and could you and confirm that you're calling to talk about the current agenda item. Caller with a phone number ending in 7251, could we please get your name? (7251), if you're there, please provide your name. With that, Mr. Mayor, we have no more public comments on this agenda item.
Okay, thank you. We will close public comment on this agenda item. Thank you, everybody, for calling in and sharing your thoughts with us. Just a couple things to answer or clear up. First, to the alligator reporter, the budget process starts and usually around January. We go through a series of meetings. We try to pair it with our adopted strategic plan by the commission. Individual commissioners introduce increments that they'd like to see by the city manager and full commission. Same with the GRU side, as well as decrements we'd like to see. And then the city budget staff starts putting all the numbers together. We have to look at things like project news, and forecasts, and there's a lot that goes into it. And then usually around July, the city manager presents a finalized draft proposed budget for the commission. The commission then meets sometimes many times, depending on how much difference there is on the commission. And we give feedback to the city manager and to the general manager as to what we're willing to support and what we are not. And then a final version of the budget comes out. And so everything in that budget is ultimately under the authority of the commission to approve in its final form, which we're obligated to do before October 1st when the fiscal year begins. I want to go back and just repeat a sort of clarification that the city manager made, that there's an increase of approximately $250,000 to the GPD budget, not $1 million. And I'm not sure where that number ended up coming from, but it certainly sort of made its way out there. And I want to speak to the total general government budget is around $400 million. We spend over $100 million just on transportation alone. Those are in separate funds, and so we don't always see them together. And so there is considerable spending in other areas that aren't part of that $6 million that you're seeing. And I also just want to mention what we are spending more money on and what we're spending less money on. We're spending more money on teachers. We're spending more money on mental health specialists. We're spending more money on arts and programs. We're spending more money on body cameras. We're spending less money on GPD officers. We have cut sworn officers positions from the budget. And so the Gainesville Police Department has been and will continue to be a department in transition. We have been working for quite some time to rethink policing, and a lot of that's moving functions away from officers to other community specialists that can help divert and deflect people from being arrested in the first place, to help them with their specific health or addiction issues, and to do things like the Reichert House to help our youth, in crisis or simply interested in benefiting from the assets of that program. So, for many of our callers, we're not adding enough to the budget. For many of our other callers, we're not reducing it enough. And I go back to my statements to discuss this, that ultimately represents a compromise. But I do believe it's a budget that moves our city in a very positive direction. It puts us on excellent financial footing going into next year. It invests in the community programs that that we have heard our priorities for all of us. And ultimately, I think will be a budget that represents the values of our entire community. And so, again, I want to thank everybody for participating in the conversation. And I think if everyone was listening to everyone else, we can see that there's a broad difference of opinion on many of these things. But in the end, we all live in the same community. We share the same air, and we share the same needs. And I think that this budget will help serve all of our neighbors better than it ever has in the past. And I think that's something that we should all be proud of as we move forward. That, Madam, I think we are ready for a roll call vote.
Commissioner Hayes Santos.
Aye.
Commissioner Ward.
Aye.
Commissioner Sacco.
Aye.
Commissioner Simmons.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola.
Aye.
And Mayor Poe.
Aye, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everybody, for that. A big sigh of relief on the part of both the general manager and city manager, at least for 2 weeks. Okay, Madam Clerk, our next and final item, please.
Our last item is the second reading of Ordinance 200250, ordinance suspending enforcement of open container during the COVID-19 pandemic. An ordinance of the City of Gainesville, Florida, suspending the enforcement of Section 4-4 and Section 18-20, paren 16, as it relates to the consumption of or possession of any alcoholic beverage in any open container on property owned or operated by the city, including parks, or on any public right-of-way during the declared state of emergency for the COVID-19 pandemic, providing for repeal by emergency ordinance, providing for non-codification, providing a severability clause, providing a conflict clause, and providing an effective date and termination date.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioner Ariola.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My hand was not specifically to speak to this item immediately. I wanted to know if after this we would have a period of deliberation, just for general comment.
No, it's not on the special meetings. Only they don't have a general commission comment on them.
Okay.
Just the items that were advertised.
Okay. Well then, at this time, Halsey Bashirs has announced that bars are going to reopen on Monday in Florida in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic spike. So we had better brace ourselves, and we had better prepare ourselves because it's about to get a whole lot worse. I'd like to know if our managers had the opportunity to see this order from Mr. Bashirs, and if there's room for us to be more strict. Because what I don't want to see is I don't want to see images of what we've seen in other cities in this country, where you have people packed in bars with no masks. And I understand that this is about the open container and people can now be on city property, and that brings its own sort of security issues, which a number of bar owners have reached out to me as to what they're supposed to do when a whole bunch of people decide to stand on the sidewalk with open containers and they can't move. And I'm just concerned as to what we're going to do, because even if it's 50% capacity, if we can't enforce distancing and masks in the bars, I feel like I'm living in the twilight zone, y'all, with the orders that come from Tallahassee. It makes no sense.
Mr. Manager, do you want to respond?
So I've not seen the order. I think it came out during this meeting. So but I will certainly take a look at it. So I don't have an answer for you on what it contains or what the rules are.
Well, then, the commission's not going to meet before then. So at least from this commissioner, I would like the manager to take the strictest possible measures to to abate the damage that that order is going to cause in terms of spreading COVID-19. Particularly since it's going to essentially authorize the University of Florida. I mean, they already have 500 plus, 600 plus people in quarantine, 200 plus cases, student center positivity rate of 21%. And that's only what's actually been turned in. I have people telling me that there are entire sorority houses and frat houses with symptomatic people who aren't even going to get tested. So this is going to be a travesty of epic proportions. And I've already called for another joint meeting with the UF administration and the county commission to discuss the outbreak that was easily predicted, given the course that they decided to go down. And so, we only, in times of crisis, when bad decisions are made, you only get a short time to fix those problems before things get worse and out of control. I think we're headed down that path right now with what the state and what the University of Florida has been pushing on this community, because we were doing a great job for months and it's all been thrown away for I don't know what. And, I obviously oppose this ordinance, and I don't know the last time that we passed an ordinance on first reading and then second reading in a week instead of 2 weeks. So I don't even know. Now I feel like I'm in the twilight zone for government because I don't even know what the philosophy is anymore. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Santos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I haven't had a chance to see the order that you mentioned, Commissioner Ariola, but I would agree that I would like the manager, if there are significant changes that order is allowing, to add emergency orders to keep the status quo at least until our meeting on the 17th. Right, we have a city commission meeting then that we could discuss kind of further. So if the county doesn't take action, then I think we should, if there are significant changes to the order. I do think that the current kind of open container emergency kind of ordinance is necessary. I think it will help us be able to keep COVID out of the, or keep people out or from being inside bars. I think we'll continue to see the kind of the state government move forward on releasing things. So I'd like to move that we adopt ordinance 200250 on second reading by title only.
Okay, is there a second? No second? Seconded by Ward, okay. Moved by Hayes Santos, seconded by Ward. Commissioner Simmons.
In light of new developments, I cannot vote for this ordinance. In fact, I would like to table this until the city manager comes back with more information. I would not be supporting this motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. For the same reasons that Commissioner Simmons mentioned, I agree. In light of the new information, a lot of this is in flux right now, and I would love more information about the what came down from Tallahassee, because everything is based on the bars being closed. So I need more information. I'll be voting against this. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe it's even more important that we move forward with this now. If bars are open and we don't provide an outdoor opportunity for people to gather, then where they will gather is inside bars. And so, regardless of this order, I think, with bars being closed, it would have been a softer runway. But if there's no other alternative and bars are open, that's the worst possible scenario. And we know, and we're basing this off what, a good amount of data that we know now, that the potential for transmission outdoors is much, much lower than indoors. And so, I think this is still a really important step. It's something that we have a modicum of control over. to think about sending our officers into bars to enforce social distancing. You know, I think it's just a much better situation if they're able to do that outside in controlled spaces. But I will also, first thing in the morning, talk to the chair of the county commission. The last I spoke with him, which was yesterday, this had not, we didn't know about this. So I'll speak with him tomorrow and try to get a idea of what he's thinking. Because I know where his heart is on this, and would be interested to see if he's interested in taking more assertive action. Commissioner Sacco?
So just as a question, would we even, if we allow open container drinking on city property and public spaces, do we even have any mechanisms to ensure that people don't gather on the sidewalk outside of a bar? Because the bar would only be, it says 50% capacity inside the bar. Would we have any mechanism to ensure that we don't have what happened the first time they reopened, that people just lined up outside of bars? Would we have, I mean, my instinct tells me no, that we wouldn't have a mechanism to disperse crowds from the door of a bar, which would then be, they're allowed to gather there and drink by this ordinance. Would we have any mechanisms to make them disperse a certain distance?
So the county order allows us to disperse crowds or any crowd of any size where social distancing isn't taking place. Effectively, I'll tell you, we can't be everywhere at every time, but if they're not outside the bar, they're going to be inside the bar on there. And so, as the mayor pointed out, based upon conversations with Mr. Myers at the health department, Dr. Lizardo at UF, and the other current literature, everybody is, promoting that outdoor activity is better than indoor activity. And so the whole concept of our program is to move activity outside and to spread it as far out as we can, which is why we're looking at Lot 10, Lot 13, in some road closures and all, so that people do not have to congregate on the sidewalks, that they can spread out to other places in smaller groups and practice social distancing. So this ordinance would allow, for example, activities to occur at Bo Diddley, other city facilities that are around where, again, smaller crowds can practice social distancing instead of all congregating within, closed spaces out there. And we've done this to some limited degree at on a few street places already, and we have not had the problems of large crowds gathering. So if you look at what the street closure we did at in front of Lucy's on First or by Flacco's, those have worked pretty well. So I think we've demonstrated that that this program can work. And again, with more individuals coming to Gainesville for various reasons, we think that this is going to be in the best interest of public health.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's go to Kyle for public comment.
Thank you, Mayor. Right now we have two callers who are seeking to provide comment. We're going to start with Nathan Scott, and after Nathan will be Debbie Martinez. Nathan, please go ahead. It looks like Nathan just dropped, so we're going to turn now to Debbie Martinez, and if Nathan calls back in, we will have him join the line. Debbie, please go ahead.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Commissioner David Ariola for disagreeing with this ordinance once again, and I also appreciate the other commissioners. I'm not wanting to go forward with this either. Now, I can understand why maybe the city manager might think that just because this works in theory, it would work in reality, but it doesn't. We're supposed to be discouraging large gatherings. This only encourages it. And it also creates all other kinds of problems, from sexual assaults, physical assaults, property damage. Whenever you mix alcohol with young people, problems arise, and it attracts not just underage college students, but high school students as well. And it's not just citizens from Gainesville. This appeals to young people from all over the city, the county, and the surrounding counties. And there's no need to do this. So we have enough problems. Don't add more to it. There's no reason to rush with this. You don't need to have open container anyway. So I urge all of you, table this. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Debbie. And Nathan, it looks like we've got you back on the line. You're good to provide your public comment.
Yes, good evening, Commissioners, Nathan Scott. So first and foremost, I think the city should consider the ramifications of this proposed ordinance. What this effectively means, if enacted, is that I can show up on the halls, on the steps of City Hall, and basically bring a six-pack, sit down, get a suntan, enjoy myself, just like any other citizen could, because that's city property. In fact, we could even have a keg party as long as we're socially distant. So, that might be something to do, because the City Commission, again, is just into all aspects of regulating people's lives and conduct. I'm really kind of surprised that you haven't had a special meeting to enact your own 10-person house party requirement, because that went down in flames, much to the chagrin of Hutch yesterday. I'm surprised you guys haven't started shaming the county commission for their failure to act, and I'm surprised you guys haven't picked up the torch and tried to even enact more draconian standards. But by all means, if you want to enact this open container ordinance all over the city, you can deal with the ramifications of it. You can see what's happened to some of the block parties at Williston, and people conjugating, and alcohol and or drugs being involved, shootings follow. People can be drinking all over the place, like you got a lot of panhandlers do that already, but y'all don't seem to be concerned with that. It's basically act like it's a magnet to attract them. We didn't used to have this problem here in Gainesville, but we have this current failed governance here, and this is the ramifications, where you guys constantly want to engage in a bunch of virtue signaling and never let any crisis go to waste, and continue to dictate and mandate how we should live every aspect of our lives. And a lot of people, including myself, are very frustrated and tired of this, because that's not the role of local government. So again, if you want to enact this ordinance, fine. As been noted, there are ramifications that go with that, and I look forward to showing up with a six-pack on the steps of City Hall and maybe enjoying a beer. You never know. But that's basically the ramifications of what you guys are basically permitting. So if you guys want to do that, maybe invite some friends, and we can socially distance, and maybe even have a keg party. But that's your proposed ordinance here is might be well intended, but people are going to do what they're going to do. They don't need except the sheep that constantly look to you guys for guidance. No one really needs for you guys, the majority of which have criminal convictions, to tell us how to live our lives, because you probably aren't good role models. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, we have no additional callers on the line.
Okay, thank you. We'll close public comment for this item and turn back to the commission. Commissioner Ariola.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, when this ordinance comes into place, I understand that, we're going to look at public spaces that, can be opened up for more drinking. What is the plan to make these places more appealing than Fats downtown or Fats at Midtown, or any of the popular places that people prefer, regardless of whether or not we've got spaces open?
sorry, I was on mute. I'm not quite sure the definition of more appealing, but if you take lot 10, for example, we will have tables and chairs. We will have a tent or two out there. So it will be, designed that people will just not, stand up and drink or eat. It'll be, more of a setting where the tables and chairs will be socially distanced, spaced, and we will, be monitoring that. And if we have to, if people try to move chairs, we will move them back. And
we need to come up with something to deal with these bars being at 50%, y'all, because it ain't going to end well. I'll tell you that. It sounds all well and good to have a socially distanced place on city property where there can be encouraged for people to enjoy a beer, safely. But if you think that people aren't going to pack the bars 50%, all of the popular ones in Midtown, where are they gonna socially distance in Midtown? Where's the city lot in Midtown for that? That's going to be the next COVID hotspot, everybody. What's the plan for us dealing with that?
so with regard to Midtown, we're going to be closing down a portion of First Street. And we will be closing down one lane in a parking bay on University on the 1700 block to create some more open space activities for where the plethora of the bars are along there. And a lot of these bars have reopened. They've quickly gotten food licenses, which were pretty easy to get from the state. So we have very few establishments that are currently closed on there and subject to the the bar order. I think a place like First Magnitude, may be one of the only places that has remained closed at this point.
Sure, there's been a few that have been opened, but the most popular ones have remained closed until Monday, of course. Well, I could go on and on about my fear, my concerns about this, but what I'm going to say is that, I think it's time that we took this to the highest bodies at the University of Florida. I appreciate Dr. Lizardo. I appreciate Dr. Lane. I appreciate Dr. Fox, but they are carrying out orders that have been given to them from the Board of Trustees that are being executed by the Provost's office. And so what this community has so many concerns over the last 2 weeks that have not been addressed. And I want to commend again, Dr. Lizardo, who posted a video earlier this morning talking about some of the testing failures that they had early on, and they're owning up to those. But we need to keep this moving because, as things have been changing every other week, either from the state or from the university, we're going to need to have to continue these conversations. And so I'm going to submit my questions in writing. I'm inviting my constituents to submit us any questions. I think this commission should come up with questions and get answers because as this situation unfolds, it's becoming less and less manageable. And in March, we made the decision very quickly to manage the situation so that it didn't get out of hand. Apparently they don't have that same impetus in the governor's mansion or the provost's office or the Board of Trustees boardroom, but we do, and the buck will stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we're all concerned about the things that we can't control, that we haven't been able to control, with what I think is probably a pretty massive spread already at UF and surrounding UF. I am also troubled by the full reopening of bars. I think anybody who stops and gives that some good thought has to scratch their head a little bit and wonder what the governor's thinking. But I do that a lot. So what we can do now, what's in front of us is an opportunity to manage to some degree the places that people can congregate and the ways that they congregate. and get people into a place where city staff of one sort or another can help maintain separation and be in a healthy environment to enjoy being together. This has worked in other cities just fine. There's no reason that we shouldn't think well of Gainesville too. I have tremendous concerns about lots of issues with this, but as the manager pointed out, a lot of these bars have been open the whole time. They went and got a sandwich cooler and filled it with sandwiches and a food license, and were totally able to be open. I appreciate the establishments who abided more closely by the law, but I'm very concerned about what's going to happen with all of them being wide open. I think we give ourselves an opportunity to manage some of the situation, not all of it. We can't manage all of it. It is, to some degree, that it's going to be an unmanageable situation. But by moving forward with this ordinance, I think we give ourselves some opportunity for some management of it. And honestly, it's some opportunity for people to enjoy themselves in a safe manner. I think our best opportunity, our greatest challenge, perhaps, that we can actually have something to do with, is thinking forward to the next steps. How do we manage the huge growth of cases that we are facing? How do we message, because communications is probably the best thing we can do. How do we message to people who are here and interacting with students? Students are going to do what they're going to do. How do we talk to people who interact with them and remind people of the smart things to do? We have, as a society, fallen down a little bit in the last couple of months of reminding ourselves what those smart choices are, because we've been doing the distanced thing for a while, and it's grating and it's hard. So maybe one of the things we do that doesn't sound like it's much at all, but it's probably a big thing, is recommunicate and remind everybody, hey, we don't want you to get sick. We don't want your family to get sick. We want you to be safe and productive, and the best way to do that is to keep wearing your mask and not go out if you don't have to go out. If you have to go to work, come home after work. Keep that distancing and that containment as much as you can. And then, it's a reminder of this background health conversation that we've been trying to sort of have for many months, even before COVID a little bit. What do we do next? What's our public health challenge and opportunity? How can we move forward, knowing that there's another wave coming? Because I think we all know that there is another wave coming. So that's the answer that we have just a few days to find, and that's where I'm putting my mind and trying to think on. The last thing I would say before we get moving is it's interesting that even when we are in a position to do something that lowers regulation, we're still somehow draconian. So can't win, man. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I'll talk to county chair first thing in the morning and see what the thinking is there. And I'm sure the two managers will be in communication as well once they're able to read the order. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and move to a roll call vote.
Commissioner Simmons?
No.
Commissioner Hayes Santos?
Aye.
Commissioner Ward?
Aye.
Commissioner Ariola?
Oh.
Commissioner Sacco?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
No.
Mayor Poe?
All right, that motion passes 4-3 with Johnson, Simmons, and Ariola in dissent. All right, thank you all very much. You all please stay safe, and we will see you soon. This meeting is adjourned.